Hello everyone. So we are starting with another aspect of CRPC, that is jurisdiction of criminal courts into inquiries and trials. Chapter 13 of CRPC 1973. Basically, what is the meaning of jurisdiction? The term jurisdiction denotes the power of a particular court to try a particular matter. So we can easily write it down as if the area, the extent, or the power of a particular court to try a particular matter is known as, in simple word, is known as jurisdiction. It starts from section 177 till section 189 of CRPC. First of all, section 177 CRPC talks about what should be the ordinary place of trial or inquiry. Generally, the ordinary place of inquiry or trial of a criminal matter is the place where actually the offence was committed. So, the area in which, the place at which the offence was committed is the place where the offence should be tried, and the court within whose local jurisdiction the offence was committed is the court competent to try that particular matter. So 177 is simply stating that generally the place of trial of any particular offence or place of inquiry would be the place where offence was actually committed, and the court within whose local jurisdiction the offence was committed would be the court competent to try that particular matter. Apart from that, Section 178 defines certain other aspects when place of inquiry or trial is under question. That what would be the place of inquiry or trial when there is uncertainty as to the place where actually offence has been committed. There can be a situation when we found the body of the deceased, but it is not clear that where the offence was actually committed, or otherwise we have found the subject matter of a particular offence, say a stolen property, which is subject matter of a property offence, but we are not aware or we have no knowledge or information about where the actual offence was committed. In that particular situation, the place of inquiry or trial would be the area where such property is found. There can be a situation when the offence is partly committed in one area and partly committed in another area. In that situation, both the courts having jurisdiction over such local areas would be competent to try that particular matter. But if one court is trying that particular matter, other court is impliedly barred from taking cognizance of that particular matter. So if two courts at the same time have the power to try a particular matter, only one court would be trying that particular matter and other would be impliedly barred. Same if the offence is a continuing offence like abduction, then every other area in which such offence was committed or continuing would be an area where inquiry or trial of such offence can take place. So suppose a particular child was abducted from Chandigarh and he was taken from Chandigarh to Delhi and then to Bombay. So during the travel, till the child was in abduction, the places at which the child was kept or otherwise was taken from that particular place would become the place of trial, and the courts having jurisdiction over those particular areas would be competent to try such offence. Apart from that, there can be a situation when a one particular offence consists of different several acts. Small, minor acts makes a major offence. In that particular situation, every area in which those small acts were performed in order to undertake the commission of the major offence would be the area in which would become the place of inquiry or trial. Means the courts having jurisdiction over all those areas would be competent to try that particular offence. But yes, the general rule would be if one particular court is trying that particular matter, other courts would be barred from taking cognizance. Section 179 is dealing with offences tribal where act is done or consequences ensues. And this particular section is dealing with the situation when an act is not an offence as such, but it becomes an offence by reason of any action or consequence. Means for an act to become an offence, a particular consequence is required. For example, a particular person has tried to kill B, but still B is alive. So we can charge X. Suppose X has tried to kill B and B is still alive. So we can charge X with still grievous hurt or attempt to murder. But for charging him for murder, the consequence of death of B is must. So this particular section is dealing with that particular situation where an act or a particular consequence is required in order to punish a particular person for a particular offense. In that situation, place of trial would be any area in which the act or any other action was performed or where the consequences happened. So suppose the person was stabbed in Delhi but he died in Gurugram. So both the places would be having the jurisdiction to try that particular matter, and if Gurugram courts try that particular individual, the courts of Delhi would be barred from taking cognizance. Apart from that, Section 180 talks about place of trial when act is an offence by reason of relation to another offence. Same like the previous section, this section talks about an act which is not otherwise an offence but becomes an offence because it is related to a particular offence. For example, abetment. Abetment is otherwise, if you talk about abatement, if you say something to a particular person, it is not abatement until unless the person acts upon it, right? So here also, if a particular act is done which is otherwise not an offense but becomes an offense when it is related to a particular offense, then both the areas where the previous act was done or where the actual offense was committed, both the areas would be the areas in which cognizance can be taken of such a offense. Means both the courts of having jurisdiction over those areas would be competent to try such matter. Section 181 talks about place of trial in certain case in particular offences. Means this particular section is giving us a category of offences and specifying that yes, is for this particular category the place of trial would be this only. Like for category 1 is offence of being a thug, murder committed by a thug, dacoity with murder, belonging to gang of dacoits, escaping from custody, etc. So in these kind of offences, the court in whose local jurisdiction the offender is found or the offence was committed. Any of the offence is committed or the offender is found would be the court competent to try that particular matter, and the place of trial would become the place where the person is actually found, actually present, or where the offence was committed. Second category is offence of abduction or kidnapping. Here, the court within whose local jurisdiction the person was kidnapped, abducted, conveyed, concealed, or detained. All these courts will have the jurisdiction to try that particular matter. Next category is offence of theft, extortion, robbery, possession of stolen property. These are some offences which are related to property. In this situation, the courts within whose local jurisdiction the offence was committed or property was possessed, received, retained, or was transferred in some manner, knowing it to be a stolen property, would be the courts where cognizance can be taken. Means where either the property was actually stolen from there, or either the property was knowingly, that yes, it is a subject matter of theft, extortion, robbery, etc. Knowingly, being aware of this particular fact, still the property was possessed, either received, either retained, or was concealed. In this particular situation, the place of trial would be the place where offense was committed or where the property was kept, like that. Last category of this particular section is offense of criminal misappropriation or criminal breach of trust. In this particular situation, again, the place of trial would be either the place where the offense was committed or where the property which is subject matter of these two offenses was either received, retained by the accused person. In such situation, the place of occurrence would be these two, and thus both the courts having jurisdiction over both the places can try that particular matter concerned. Section 182 talks about offences committed through letters, etc. This particular section talks about where the offence includes cheating and for practicing deception, letters or telecommunication messages were used. So in this particular situation, courts within whose local jurisdiction letters or messages were received or sent both can try that particular offence. Either the messages were sent, letters were sent, or were received. Both the courts are competent to try that particular matter. Apart from that, this particular section is also talking about offence of cheating and dishonestly inducing delivery of property. Where such offences are committed, in this particular situation, court within whose local jurisdiction the property was delivered by the deceiver or received by the accused person, both would be the competent courts to try a particular matter. Then, if the offence is punishable under Section 494 or 495 of IPC, then which are basically obviously offences relating to marriage, you are all aware about. Then the court within whose local jurisdiction either the offence was committed, secondly, the offender with his or her first spouse last resided, and thirdly, if the wife is the victim, then the wife by the first marriage has taken up permanent residence after commission of offence. In these three categories, the courts having jurisdiction over these three areas would be competent to try such offences relating to marriage. Section 183 talks about offences committed on journey or voyage. So, where an offence is committed in the course of journey or voyage, it can be first of all committed against a particular person or can be committed against a particular thing as well. Thus, the court uh, the court who is competent to take cognizance or who is competent to try that particular matter is within whose local jurisdiction the person or thing was passed during the course of journey or voyage. For example, particular person is going through a train or rail from Delhi to Bombay, so an offence is committed against him during the train journey. So from the areas through which that train passed, all those areas courts would be competent to try such offence, and any court can take cognizance of such matter. Apart from that, Section 184 talks about place of trial of offences tribal together. You have already read under charge Section 218 onwards, there is joinder of charges and joinder of persons. The section is just supporting and supplementing that provisions only. It is talking about where offender can be charged and tried at one trial for the offences as per section 219, 20 and 21. Then all can be clubbed together, and those persons have committed certain kind of offences and they can be charged together. This section is basically talking about two different situations. First is there is single offender who has committed different offences, and second situation is where there are several persons who have committed either single offence or more than one offences. They can be both tried together as per the provision of section 219 onwards till 223. Then any competent court who is either competent to try that particular offence or is competent to try that particular offender, any of them can try for these offences. Quite clear. Section 185 deals with power of court, power of to order cases to be tried in different session divisions. It is a kind of supplementary section, does not as such related to power of any court, but a additional power has been conferred upon the state government. There can be a situation where there are more number of cases lying with a particular sessions court, and then state government has been given an additional power that in a particular situation, if the government feels so, it can direct that any case or class of case be tried by a particular session division and otherwise by the other session division. But yes, what should be kept in mind is that while giving such direction, no any previous direction which is issued by either High Court or Supreme Court of India under this Indian Constitution or Code or other law be get violated, or such condition or direction should not be repugnant to already issued direction of court concerned. So if the state government feels that it is required for the division of work, division of labor, effectual decisions of the court, effectual working of the court, it can bifurcate or shift or transfer or order that is certain class of cases be tried by a particular session division. Apart from that, Section 186 talks about power of High Court to decide in certain cases that which particular district should be the place of inquiry or trial. This section is basically talking about a situation where there are two or more courts which can take cognizance of same offence, and they have taken the cognizance. And now the question arises that which particular court should proceed with the matter. We have already studied that there can be a situation where two or more courts are competent to try that particular matter. Now here in this particular case, in this particular section, two or more courts have taken the cognizance of that particular offence. Then the question is that which court should try that particular matter. So section provides that if both the courts are subordinate to same High Court, then concerned High Court would decide as to which particular court should continue with the case and other should stay. But if both the courts who have taken the cognizance are not under the same High Court, in that particular situation, the High Court within whose local limits the proceedings were first initiated would be the court which would decide as to which particular court should try. So otherwise, if both the courts are under same High Court, the High Court will decide obviously. But if the courts are under different High Courts, then the High Court under whose appellate jurisdiction first the case was initiated, it would be the court of competence to try this particular question. And yes, all other related proceedings shall be discontinued. If the court decides to continue the case within one court, other court's proceeding would be discontinued. Section 187 talks about power of court to issue summons or warrants of offence committed beyond the local jurisdiction. The section talks about that a situation where judicial magistrate first class has a reason, that is, a particular person of his local jurisdiction has committed an offence outside the local jurisdiction, whether within India or outside India, a person upon whom he has the power to exercise jurisdiction has committed an offence outside his local jurisdiction, which is tribal in India, but not by him. Means he does not have the power to try him, but yes, the offence is very much tribal in India. Means this attracts section 234 of IPC, Indian Penal Code. If the offence falls within those categories of intra-territorial or extraterritorial jurisdiction of IPC, then this particular provision would be attracted. So JMIC has a reason to believe that yes, a particular person who is as such subjected to his jurisdiction has committed a particular offence beyond the local limits of his jurisdiction, and he is very much tribal in India as per the provision of IPC, but he is not competent to try him. Then in that particular situation, magistrate would what do? He would inquire into the offence, and he will inquire it in a manner as if the offence is committed within his own local jurisdiction. And after that, he will send such person to the magistrate who is competent and have the jurisdiction to try him. So firstly, he will inquire himself as if the offence was committed within his own local jurisdiction, and then he will send the accused person, to the competent magistrate for trying such offence. Furthermore, the section talks about that if the offence is not punishable with death or imprisonment of life, means not extreme grave nature offence, then in particular situation, he can also release the person by taking a bond with or without surety regarding his appearance before a competent magistrate. The magistrate can say that yes, you fill a bond with or without surety and give us a surety that yes, you will appear before the competent magistrate as and when you are asked to, and he can be released on bail. Lastly, the section also talks about that if one or more than one magistrate have jurisdiction to try this particular case, magistrate cannot, and the magistrate this, before whom such person is present cannot decide as to which particular magistrate he should send him. Suppose a magistrate of X jurisdiction uh, is inquiring into a particular offence, and now he is required to send that particular person to competent magistrate. Magistrate Y and magistrate Z both are competent magistrate, and he is confused between both of them that to whom he should send the person for further trial. In that particular situation, the magistrate X would what do? He would submit the question to be decided by the High Court concerned and would act upon as per the orders of High Court concerned. Section 188 talks about offences which are committed outside India, and those offences are either by the citizen of India, whether on high seas or otherwise, or by any foreigner on any ship or aircraft which is registered in India. In both the situation, Indian laws would apply over such person. Then offender would be tried as if the offence was committed by him within India only, and the place of trial would be the place where accused is found actually present, where the accused was actually present. It would be the place of trial, and yes, before initiating any trial or inquiry into such offences, prior sanction of central government is required. So without prior sanction of the government, no proceeding under this particular section can be initiated. Lastly, section 189 talks about receipt of evidence relating to offences committed outside India. This particular section is a further extension of section 188 only, the previous section. This section talks about where the offence falls within the category of section 188, that is offences committed beyond the jurisdiction of territory of India. And then proceeding is going on already in this particular matter, and central government here, an additional power of central government is reflected in this particular section, that is, central government can direct that copies of deposition made or exhibit produced in that particular matter which is going on in 188 before a judicial magistrate of a foreign court can be produced as evidence before in this Indian courts also for the purpose of evidences. So this particular section is talking about just this much only, that yes, central government has the power to direct that copies and exhibits produced before judicial officer of a foreign court can be produced in India also in the matter where the Indian courts has a power to issue a commission. Means similar matters. In similar matters, the reference can be taken from the evidences and deposition made in foreign court before a judicial magistrate or judicial officer in this regard. So I hope that I was able to clear you on this queries are most welcome. You can post your question in the comment section, and I would be soon be coming back with another video. Hope you like it. Thank you so much.